you. Stop for a second. That sentence you just read in your head, did you hear it in English, or did you hear it? Translate it, you, and then understand it? Most learners never notice the half-second delay between hearing a word and actually owning it. Today, you. That delay disappears. I'm Claire, and this is Natural Word English, you. If you've ever frozen mid-sentence, searching for a word that just won't come, you. Or if your vocabulary sounds the same in every conversation, nice, good, happy, sad. This next hour changes that. You. We're not memorizing a list today. We're going to live inside 55 advanced English words, you. The kind fluent speakers reach for without thinking, and by the end, your brain will reach for them too, you. Here's why this works when flashcards don't. Your brain doesn't store words the way a dictionary does. Alphabetically, isolated, you, waiting to be looked up. It stores words the way it stores memories, attached to a place, a feeling, a person, a moment, you. When I say the word elated, and you just read the definition, that word sits in a shallow drawer of your memory, you. But when I say elated, while you're imagining walking into a room and seeing your own name on an acceptance letter, you. That word gets nailed to an emotional memory. It becomes retrievable under pressure, in a real conversation, not just on a quiz, you. So every word today comes wrapped in a scene. Picture it as I describe it. Let your imagination do half the work, you, and the vocabulary will do the other half. One more thing before we start. When I introduce a new word, I'll always tell you the plain you. Everyday word it's replacing. Because advanced doesn't mean complicated. It means precise. Elated doesn't just mean happy, you. It means happy in a specific, intense, short-lived way, you. That precision is what makes native speakers sound articulate instead of just correct. Let's begin. Picture this, you. You've been waiting for an email for 3 days. Your phone buzzes. You open it, and there it is. You got the job, you. Your chest tightens for a second, then a grin breaks across your face before you can stop it. That feeling isn't just happy, you. That feeling is elated, intensely happy, almost lifted off the ground. Listen to how a native speaker would actually say this, you. I was absolutely elated when I got the call. Notice the word absolutely sitting right next to it. That's a natural pairing, you. A collocation. Elated almost always travels with an intensifier. Absolutely elated, utterly elated. Shadow this with me right now, you. Out loud if you can. I was absolutely elated. Say it again, matching my rhythm. I was absolutely elated. Now here's a mini dialogue, you. Two coworkers, Sam and Priya. Right after Sam gets promoted. Priya, so how did the meeting go? Sam, I got it. You. I actually got the promotion. Priya, Wait, seriously? Sam, that's incredible! Sam, I know, I'm still processing it. You. I was elated the second she said my name. Priya. You deserve every bit of it. Let's celebrate tonight. You. Notice Sam didn't say I was happy. Happy is fine, but flat. Elated carries the intensity of the moment. You. Now I want you to try something. Imagine you just received good news of your own. Anything, big or small. In 3 seconds, you say out loud, I was elated when, and finish the sentence. Go ahead, pause me if you need to. Good. That's your first word, you. Locked into your own memory, not just mine. Let's move to the opposite emotion, because contrast helps memory even more than repetition. You. Imagine instead that you opened that email and it was a rejection. Not devastating, but disappointing in a quiet, sinking way. You. That feeling has a word too, disheartened. It replaces the basic word sad, you. But it's more specific. It's the sadness that comes from losing hope or motivation. I was disheartened by the rejection, you. But I didn't give up. Shadow it. Disheartened? Disheartened by the rejection. Notice the stress pattern. Disheartened. You. The stress lands on the middle syllable, on the word heart, hiding inside it. That's not an accident. You. English often stresses the most emotionally loaded syllable in a word. And here, heart is doing exactly that work. You. Let's practice connected speech with this one, you. Because native speakers rarely say these words in isolation. They blend into the sentence around them. Listen to the slow version first. You. I was disheartened by the news. Now listen to the natural, fast version. I was disheartened by the news. You. Almost like one long word. The was shrinks down to was, and by the collapses together. Try saying it slowly first, you. Then speed it up to match natural rhythm, slow. I was disheartened by the news. Fast. I was disheartened by the news, you. That collapsing of small words is called connected speech, you. And it's one of the biggest reasons learners understand textbooks perfectly but struggle to understand real conversations. You. Small words like was, the, to, and of almost disappear into the words around them. Now, role play. You. I want you to imagine you're at work and a close colleague just found out a project they poured months into got canceled. You. You want to comfort them using this new vocabulary. I'll play your colleague and you respond. Ready? 6 months of work, you. And they just canceled it in a 5-minute meeting. I don't even know what to say. Now it's your turn, you. Pause here and say out loud how you'd comfort them, you. Trying to use the word disheartened naturally. Something like, I know you must feel disheartened, you. But this doesn't erase what you built. Take a moment. Nice work, you. Notice how much more genuine that sounds than just saying, "Don't be sad, you." Precision in vocabulary is precision in empathy. The more specific your words, the more your listener feels truly understood, you. Not just comforted with a generic phrase. Let's shift into personality now, you. Because emotions and personality words are the two categories that make the biggest difference in how confident and expressive you sound in daily conversation, you. Imagine a coworker who never says exactly what they think in meetings, who agrees with everyone to avoid conflict, you, who you can never really predict. The opposite of that person, someone who says exactly what they mean, clearly and honestly, you, even when it's uncomfortable, is described as candid. She gave me candid feedback on my presentation, means she told you the truth, you, directly without softening it unnecessarily, you. This upgrades the basic word honest. Candid specifically implies honesty that might be a little blunt, you. A little surprising in its directness. Shadow it. Candid. Candid feedback. She was candid with me. Here's a longer dialogue, you. 4 exchanges. Because candid is a word that really lives inside conversation. 2 friends, Maya and Josh, you. After Josh asked for feedback on a business idea, Josh, "Okay, be honest. What did you really think of the pitch?" Maya, you. "You sure you want candid feedback? Not just it was great?" Josh, "Yeah, I need it. Go ahead." Maya, "Honestly, the idea is strong, you. But your pricing section felt rushed. Investors will ask about it in the first 5 minutes." Josh, "Ouch. But, yeah, you. You're probably right. I appreciate you being candid with me." Maya, "That's what friends are for, you. I'd rather you hear it from me than get blindsided later." Now let's switch roles. This time you're Maya and I'll be Josh, you. I'm going to ask you for candid feedback on something, and I want you to pause after I speak and respond out loud, you, using the word candid somewhere in your answer. "Hey, I've been working on this new resume for weeks, you. Can you take a look and tell me honestly what you think, you." Pause here and answer as if you're looking at a real resume. Say something like, "I'll be candid with you, you. The summary section needs more detail." "Go ahead, try it now." "Great, you." That's exactly how native speakers use feedback vocabulary. They name the type of feedback they're giving before they give it, you. It softens directness while keeping it honest. Let's pair candid with its near opposite, you. A word for someone who hides their real opinion. That word is evasive, you. He gave an evasive answer when I asked about the delay means he avoided answering directly. He dodged the question, you. Evasive replaces the vague phrase, "He didn't really answer." Listen to the pronunciation carefully, you, because this word has a sound many learners flatten. Evasive. The stress is on the second syllable, and that A sound is a long U. Clear diphthong, don't rush through it. Slow, evasive. Fast, natural, evasive. Shadow it 3 times. Evasive, evasive. U. Evasive. Quick role play for this one. Short and sharp, the kind of exchange that actually happens in offices constantly. You. I'll be a manager. You're an employee who just noticed a coworker being evasive about a mistake. You. Did you ask him about the missing report? Pause and respond. You. Describing the coworker's behavior using evasive, something like I did, but he was pretty evasive about it. You. He kept changing the subject. Try it now. You're building real reflexes here, not just recognition. You. That's the difference between knowing a word and owning it. Let's move into the workplace category more directly now. You. Since so much of daily communication, especially for intermediate to advanced learners, happens in professional settings where basic vocabulary makes you sound less capable than you actually are. You. Picture a coworker who plans everything carefully, double-checks every detail, never sends an email with a typo. You. Organizes their desk perfectly. That level of careful attention to detail has a word. Meticulous. You. She's meticulous about deadlines means she's extremely careful and precise, sometimes almost perfectionist. You. This upgrades careful. Meticulous carries the sense of obsessive precision, not just general caution. Shadow it. Meticulous. You. She's meticulous. Meticulous about deadlines. Here's something important about connected speech with this word, you. In fast, natural speech, meticulous about often blends the S of meticulous directly into the A of about. Meticulous about, you almost no gap between the words. Try it slow first. Meticulous. About, deadlines, then fast, meticulous about deadlines, you. This blending, where the final consonant of one word slides directly into the vowel of the next, happens constantly in English and is one of the biggest reasons spoken English sounds so different from written English. You. Let's build a scene. Imagine you're training a new employee, walking them through how your most detail-oriented coworker, Daniel, you, prepares reports. Visualize the office, fluorescent light, the quiet hum of a printer, Daniel's desk covered in color-coded folders. You. Here's the dialogue. New employee. Wow, his desk is really organized. You. That's Daniel for you. You. He's meticulous about everything. Every folder, every deadline. New employee. Does that ever slow him down? You. Sometimes. You. But when he submits something, you know it's been checked 5 times. No mistakes. Now, a quick fluency check. No role play this time. You. Just repetition to build automatic recall. Say these 3 sentences out loud, back to back, as fast as you comfortably can. You. She's meticulous. He's meticulous about deadlines. I try to be meticulous with my work. You. Good, you just moved that word from passive recognition into active, fast recall, you. Which is exactly what happens in a real conversation when you don't have time to think. Nice work getting through this first block, you. You've already picked up 5 real usable words: elated, disheartened, candid, evasive, meticulous, and more importantly, you. You've practiced them the way you'll actually need them. Inside emotion, inside conflict, inside office life, you. That's the whole difference between this channel and a vocabulary list. We're not done. There's a lot more ahead, you, including a full role play for a job interview, a natural conversation about travel, you, and a proper shadowing block where I'll walk you through connected speech in real fast native rhythm. Stay with me, you. Let's step into a scene now. You're on a plane, window seat, city lights fading below as you climb, you. The person next to you strikes up a conversation. This is where a lot of learners freeze, you. Because travel small talk moves fast and expects natural reactions, not textbook phrases, you. Imagine you tell your seatmate about a trip you're excited about, and they ask what you're looking forward to most, you. You don't just want to say, I want to see everything. That's vague and forgettable. Instead, you. Imagine feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness before a big trip. That fluttery, can't sit still feeling, you. There's a precise word for that, exhilarated. It replaces excited, you, but with more intensity. It's the excitement that comes with a slight edge of adrenaline, you. The kind you feel before something big and a little unpredictable. I felt exhilarated the moment the plane took off. Shadow it, you. Exhilarated. I felt exhilarated. Exhilarated the moment we took off. Notice the stress. XHILA rated, you. The middle syllable carries the weight, and the H is soft, you. Almost disappearing in fast speech. Natives often say exhilarated with barely any breath on that H. Here's the dialogue. You. 4 exchanges visualized on that plane. Seatmate. First time going, or have you been before? You. First time. Honestly, you. I've been exhilarated all week just thinking about it. Seatmate. That's the best feeling. What's first on your list? You. Probably just wandering without a plan for the first day. I want to get a little lost. Seatmate. Smart, you. Some of my best travel memories came from getting lost on purpose. Now let's switch roles. I'll be the seatmate this time, you, and I want you to respond using exhilarated naturally somewhere in your answer. So are you nervous or excited or both, you? Pause and answer out loud. Something like, honestly, more exhilarated than nervous. I can't wait to just take it all in. Try it now. You. Good. That blend of nervous, excited energy is exactly what exhilarated captures. You. And it's a word native speakers reach for constantly around travel, big events, and new experiences. You. Let's contrast it with a word for the opposite travel feeling, that flat, drained, done. With this feeling after a long, uncomfortable journey. Picture stepping off a delayed overnight flight. Stiff neck, dry eyes, dragging your suitcase through a silent airport at 4 a.m. That feeling is being drained, completely out of physical or mental energy. I was completely drained after the layover. This upgrades tired. Drained implies your energy has been used up entirely. Like a battery at 0, not just sleepy. Shadow it. Drained, completely drained. I was drained after the flight. Let's practice the connected speech here. Because completely drained is a phrase you'll hear constantly. And in fast speech, it often compresses to something like complete drained. The T softens and almost disappears between two vowels. Slow, completely, drained. Fast, completely drained. Try saying both versions out loud, slow then fast, twice each. Quick role play. Imagine a friend picks you up from the airport after that long trip. I'll play that long trip. Hey! How was the flight? You look exhausted. Pause and respond using drained. Something like, honestly, I'm completely drained. I just need to sleep for 12 hours. Try it now. Let's move into technology. A category. Most learners never get proper advanced vocabulary for because textbooks tend to stay stuck on words like computer and internet long after real conversations have moved on to more nuanced language. Picture this. You're setting up new software at work, and it's confusing. Buttons everywhere, no clear instructions. Nothing makes sense. That kind of design, confusing and hard to use, has a word: cumbersome. This app is so cumbersome, I can never find what I need. It upgrades difficult or complicated. Cumbersome specifically implies something is heavy, clunky, awkward to use or handle, whether that's software, a process, or even a physical object. Shadow it. Cumbersome, This app is cumbersome, a cumbersome process. Here's a workplace dialogue visualized around a shared laptop screen. Two coworkers, Anna and Leo, trying to file an expense report. Anna, wait, why do I have to click through 5 different tabs just to submit one receipt? Leo, I know, This whole system is unbelievably cumbersome. It used to be one click. Anna, who approved this update? Leo, no idea. But I've heard at least 3 people complain about it this week alone. Now here's a role switch moment. You. Imagine you're explaining to a new team member why everyone avoids using a certain internal tool. I'll play the new team member, you, asking you directly, why does no one use the reporting tool anymore? Pause and respond, describing it as cumbersome, you, and explain briefly why. Something like, it's just really cumbersome. It takes 10 steps to do something that should take 2. You. Try it now. Let's contrast this with its opposite, a word for something designed simply, easy, and pleasant to use. You. Picture opening an app and instantly knowing exactly where to tap. Everything flowing naturally. No confusion at all. You. That ease has a word. Intuitive. The new interface is really intuitive. I figured it out in under a minute. You. This upgrade's easy. Intuitive specifically means something feels natural, you. Almost like you already knew how to use it without being told. Shadow it. Intuitive. Really intuitive. An intuitive design, you. Notice the pronunciation carefully here. Intuitive. Many learners stress the wrong syllable, putting weight on in instead of to, you. Try it slow. Intuitive. Then fast, natural rhythm, intuitive. Say it 3 times, gradually speeding up. You. Let's do a full role play scene now, a slightly longer one, you. Because intuitive versus cumbersome is exactly the kind of contrast that comes up naturally in real tech conversations. Reviews, you. Feedback sessions, casual chats about apps. Visualize this. You and a friend are comparing 2 food delivery apps over coffee, you. Deciding which one to keep on your phone. Friend, which delivery app do you actually use? You. I switched to the blue one a few months ago. It's so much more intuitive than the other one. Friend, really? You. I still use the other one, but I always get lost trying to change my order. You, yeah, that one's honestly pretty cumbersome. You. Too many steps for something simple. Friend, okay, you've convinced me. I'm switching tonight. Now, you. Pause and imagine you're describing your own 2 most used or least used apps out loud, you. Using both words in the same short comparison. Something like, I find this app really intuitive, you. But this other one is so cumbersome I barely open it anymore. Try building that sentence yourself right now about real apps you use, you. Let's slow down for a moment. Close your shoulders down, relax your jaw, you, and just listen for the next few seconds without repeating anything, you. I want you to notice how these words are starting to feel less like foreign vocabulary and more like tools you already reached for a few times in the last few minutes. You. That shift from remembering to reaching is exactly what fluency feels like in its earliest form. You're not there yet, you. But you're closer than you were. 15 minutes ago. Let's move into personality again. You. This time focused on how people behave under pressure or in disagreement, because these words come up constantly in real relationships. You. At work and at home. Picture a coworker in a heated meeting who stays completely calm, speaks slowly, never raises their voice. You. Even when others get frustrated. That calm control under pressure has a word. Composed. You. She stayed composed even when the client was clearly angry. You. This upgrades calm. Composed implies calmness specifically under pressure or stress, not just general relaxation. Shadow it. You. Composed. Stayed composed. Remained composed under pressure. Let's pair it with the opposite. Someone who loses control quickly. You. Reacts before thinking, gets visibly upset fast. That reaction has a word. Impulsive. You. He made an impulsive decision and regretted it later. You. This upgrades hasty or simply quick to react. Impulsive implies acting without thinking through consequences. You. Here's a dialogue contrasting both personalities directly. Visualized in a tense team meeting after a project mistake. Dollager. You. The client is furious. What happened in there? Employee. Marcus lost his temper and said something impulsive. You. And now the client feels disrespected. Manager. And you? Employee. I tried to stay composed even though I was frustrated too. You. Someone had to keep the conversation professional. Manager. Good. You. That's exactly the kind of composure we need in situations like this. Notice that last line. Composure. The noun form of composed. You. English often shifts a word's form depending on the sentence. And recognizing these families, composed on posure, you. Impulsive flash, impulsiveness helps you flex the same vocabulary into different grammatical shapes without learning entirely new words. You. Role play time. I'll describe a stressful situation, and I want you to respond as the composed person in the room, you. Using the word naturally. Everyone in the meeting is panicking because the server just crashed during the demo. What do you say? You. Pause and respond. Something like, let's stay composed, panicking won't fix the server, let's focus on next steps. You. Try it out loud now. Let's do a fast listening challenge, because at natural speed, you. Real speakers don't pause between every word the way I have been for teaching purposes. You. Listen to this sentence once at full natural speed. And don't worry about catching every single word. Just catch the overall meaning. Just catch the overall meaning. You. Yeah, honestly, I thought he'd lose it in there, but he stayed pretty composed, considering how impulsive the client's whole team was being. You. Don't panic if you didn't catch everything. Here's the technique. When native speech moves fast, you don't need every word. You need the content words, the words carrying meaning, usually nouns, verbs, adjectives. You. Function words like heed, in there, pretty, the whole often blur together, and that's fine because they carry grammar, you, not meaning. Natural response when you don't catch everything, just say right or I see or that makes sense, you. And let the conversation keep moving instead of freezing to ask for a repeat every time. Let's try that sentence again, you. This time slower, so you can hear exactly which words blurred. Yeah, honestly, I thought he'd lose it in there, you. But he stayed pretty composed, considering how impulsive the client's whole team was being. Now, once more at natural fast speed, you. And this time, shadow it. Try to speak along with me in real time, even roughly, you. Yeah, honestly, I thought he'd lose it in there, but he stayed pretty composed, considering how impulsive the client's whole team was being, you. Good. That's real shadowing, echoing speech in real time, not just repeating after a pause. It trains your mouth and ear together, you, at the same time, which is exactly what happens in live conversation. Let's shift to education and learning vocabulary now, you. Since so many learners eventually need to describe their own thinking, studying, or reasoning process in English, whether in school, you, at work, or in casual conversation about self-improvement. Picture someone who thinks deeply before speaking, you, who notices small details others miss, who asks smart follow-up questions. That sharpness of thinking has a word. Discerning, you. She's a discerning reader. She always catches the small details others miss, you. This upgrades smart or perceptive. Discerning specifically implies good judgment, you. The ability to notice fine distinctions others overlook. Shadow it. Discerning, a discerning reader, discerning judgment, you. Let's pair it with a word for the opposite type of thinking. Jumping to conclusions without examining evidence carefully, you. That word is superficial. His analysis felt superficial. He never looked past the surface, you. This upgrades shallow. Superficial implies lacking depth, only touching the surface of a topic. Here's a dialogue, you. Visualized in a university seminar room, two students discussing an assigned reading. Student A. Did you finish the reading? You. I thought the argument was kind of weak. Student B. Really? I thought it was actually pretty discerning. You. Especially the part about economic bias. Student A. Maybe, but the historical section felt superficial to me, you, like he just skimmed the surface. Student B. Fair point. I'll admit the second half was stronger than the first. Now, a role play, you. Imagine you're giving feedback on a friend's essay, you, and you want to point out that one section feels superficial while another shows discerning insight. I'll play your friend, you, waiting nervously for your feedback. So, be honest, what did you think of my essay? Pause and respond, you, using both words if you can. Something like, honestly, your introduction felt a little superficial, you, but your third paragraph was really discerning. You noticed something most people miss. Try it now, you. Nice work. You've now built a real working vocabulary around emotion, personality, travel, technology, and thinking. You, all tied to real scenes instead of a flat list. That's the foundation. Coming up next, you. We're heading into a full job interview role play, using nearly 10 of today's words together. A proper connected speech, shadowing block, you, and the self-talk exercise where you'll describe your own surroundings using this exact vocabulary, out loud, on your own. Stay with me, you. We're just getting started. Let's step into the job interview now, you. Because this is where advanced vocabulary matters most. The room where precise language can actually change the outcome of your life, you. Picture this: a small office, glass walls, a woman across the table with your resume printed in front of her, you. Glancing over it before looking up. Your heart is a little fast, but you're ready. Before we start the role play, you. Let's build a few more words specifically for this context, you. Because interviews reward very particular vocabulary. Words about work ethic, adaptability, and initiative, you. Picture someone who takes on responsibility without being asked, who sees a problem and fixes it before anyone tells them to, you. That quality has a word, proactive. She's very proactive. She doesn't wait to be told what to do, you. This upgrades hardworking. Proactive specifically means acting in advance, you. Anticipating needs rather than just reacting to instructions. Shadow it. Proactive, very proactive, a proactive approach, you. Now, picture someone who adjusts smoothly when plans change suddenly. A meeting moves. A client changes requirements last minute, you, and they just roll with it without stress. That flexibility has a word, adaptable. I consider myself very adaptable, you. I actually enjoy when situations change. This upgrades flexible. Adaptable implies comfort with change itself, you, not just tolerance of it. And picture someone explaining a mistake honestly, you. Taking ownership instead of blaming others or making excuses. That honesty about your own errors has a phrase. To take accountability, you. I take full accountability for the missed deadline, you. This is a step above simply saying it was my fault. Accountability implies a mature professional ownership of outcomes, you, including the consequences. Now, the interview. I'm the interviewer. You're the candidate. Listen to my question. Pause, you. and answer out loud using at least one of today's words: proactive, adaptable, accountability, composed, meticulous, candid, you. Discerning, whichever fits naturally. Tell me about a time you made a mistake at work. How did you handle it? You. Pause here and answer out loud in full sentences as if this were a real interview. Try building something like, in my last role, I missed a deadline because I underestimated the timeline. I took full accountability, explained it to my manager candidly, and from then on, I became much more meticulous about planning ahead. Go ahead, try your own version now. Excellent, you. Let's continue the interview with a second question. A little harder this time. How do you handle sudden changes in a project? You. Pause and respond, trying to use adaptable and maybe composed. Something like, honestly, you. I've learned to stay composed when plans shift. I try to be adaptable because in most jobs, the plan changes more often than it stays the same. Try it now. One more interview question focused on initiative, you. Give me an example of a time you solved a problem before anyone asked you to. Pause and answer, you, using proactive. Something like, last year I noticed our reporting process was slow, you. So I proactively built a simpler template before my manager even brought it up. Try it now, you. You just completed a full mock interview using real advanced vocabulary in real professional context, you. That is precisely the skill that separates someone who knows English from someone who sounds hoarse none, from someone sounds genuinely capable and articulate in English. The ability to reach for precise words under a small amount of pressure, you. Exactly like you just did. Let's take a short breath here. Relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw if it's tight, you. And just listen for a moment. You've absorbed a lot in the last 20 minutes. 12 full words now, each tied to a scene, a feeling, a conversation. That's not memorization. That's a beginning of ownership, you. Let's move into a proper connected speech and shadowing block now, you. Because understanding fast native speech is just as important as producing your own advanced vocabulary. Maybe more important, you. Since most learners spend years understanding textbook English perfectly, while still struggling with real conversations, movies, and podcasts. Here's the first rule of connected speech. Consonant plus vowel almost always links. Listen to this phrase slowly. You. Turn it off. Now listen to it fast, the way a native speaker actually says it. You. Turn it off. The N of turn slides directly into it, and the T of it slides into off, you, until it sounds almost like one long word. Try saying it slow, then fast twice. Here's the second rule. You, the word to, almost always reduces to in casual speech, unless it's emphasized. Listen. I want to go becomes I wanna go, you. I have to leave becomes I have to leave. These aren't lazy or incorrect. They're simply how English naturally flows at speed, you. Try shadowing this sentence at full natural speed. I really want to go, but I have to finish this report first. Say it out loud, you. Matching the rhythm, letting want to and have to collapse naturally. Here's the third rule, you. And this one trips up even advanced learners. Question intonation rises at the end for yes-no questions, you, but falls for information questions. Listen to the difference. Are you coming? Rising at the end. Versus where are you going? You. Falling at the end. Try both out loud, exaggerating the pitch change so your ear locks onto the pattern. Are you coming? Rising, you. Where are you going? Falling. Now let's put it all together in one natural, fast sentence, you. The kind you'd actually hear in a cafe or an office hallway. Do you want to grab coffee later? Or are you swamped with work? You. Listen to it slow first. Do you want to grab coffee later? Or are you swamped with work? Now fast. Do you want to grab coffee later? You. Or are you swamped with work? Notice swamped in there, a word meaning extremely busy, overwhelmed with tasks, you, stronger than just busy. I'm completely swamped this week is a phrase you'll hear constantly in offices, you. Shadow the whole sentence with me now, at natural speed, twice in a row. Do you want to grab coffee later, or are you swamped with work, you? Let's do one more, slightly longer, to build your ear for sustained natural speech rather than single sentences, you. Listen once at full speed. Honestly, I woulda called you back sooner, but work's been so hectic I barely had a minute to breathe, you. Now slow, so you catch every piece. Honestly, I would have called you back sooner, but work's been so hectic, you. I barely had a minute to breathe. Notice hectic, extremely busy and chaotic. A step beyond swamped, you, implying disorder as well as workload. And notice woulda, would have, compressed into a single fast sound, you. Now shadow the full sentence at natural speed, you. Honesty, I woulda called you back sooner, but work's been so hectic, I barely had a minute to breathe. Try it twice, you. Letting your mouth move quickly, even if it feels a little clumsy. That clumsiness fades with repetition, you. And repetition is exactly what you're doing right now. Let's do the self-talk exercise. Now, you. The one where you turn today's vocabulary into your own private practice tool. Something you can do anywhere. Without me, you. Without a lesson, without a video at all. Here's how it works. I want you to describe your actual, real surroundings right now, you, out loud, using at least 3 of today's words. It doesn't matter if you're sitting at a desk, lying in bed, you, or walking somewhere. Describe what you see what you feel, what's happening around you, using this new vocabulary naturally. You. Let me model it first, describing my own space. Right now, I'm sitting in a fairly cluttered room, but in a way I find comforting rather than cumbersome. I feel surprisingly composed today, even though my schedule is a little hectic. There's a candid, unfiltered kind of quiet in here, just me and this microphone. Now, it's your turn. Pause the video, look around you, and describe your real environment and your real feeling right now out loud using at least 3 words from today. Elated, disheartened, candid, evasive, meticulous, exhilarated, drained, cumbersome, intuitive, composed, impulsive, discerning, superficial, proactive, adaptable, hectic, swamped. Take your time. This is the exercise that actually builds fluency outside of any lesson, any app, any teacher. The habit of narrating your real life in English, using real vocabulary, whenever you have a spare moment. Go ahead now, That's genuinely one of the most powerful habits you can build. 2 minutes a day, describing your surroundings using new words, And within a few months, vocabulary stops being something you memorize and becomes something have. Have. The way you have opinions or memories. We're getting close to the end of today's session, But there's still real value ahead. A fluency round where we'll rapid fire through everything you've learned today, And one more role play scene, this time about giving someone honest, layered feedback using nearly everything at once, Stay with me a little longer. You're almost at the finish line. And this last stretch is where everything clicks into place, Let's build one final role play scene before the fluency round, Because this one ties together nearly everything you've learned today into a single, natural, layered conversation. The kind that actually happens between real friends or coworkers. Picture this scene fully before we begin. You're sitting across from a close friend at a small kitchen table, 2 cups of tea between you, evening light coming through the window. Your friend just left a job they'd worked at for years, and they're telling you how it's going since they left. I'll play your friend, Listen to each line, and when it's your turn, pause and respond out loud, Trying to use as much of today's vocabulary as naturally fits. You don't need to force every word, Just reach for whatever feels right in the moment. Friend. It's strange. Some days I feel completely exhilarated, like I finally have room to breathe. Other days I feel disheartened, like I made a huge mistake. Pause here and respond with empathy, Maybe asking a follow-up question, using natural vocabulary. Something like, that makes sense, Leaving something after years is bound to feel like both at once. What's been the hardest part? Try it now. Friend. Honestly, you. The hardest part is that my old boss was so evasive about why the role even changed. I never got a candid answer, you, and it left me feeling like I couldn't trust the decision. Pause and respond, you. Acknowledging that frustration, something like, that's rough, you. Not getting a straight answer after all that time would leave anyone feeling disheartened too. Try it now. Friend. But honestly, you. Looking back, I think I'd become a little too comfortable. I wasn't being proactive anymore. Just doing the minimum, you. Going through the motions. Pause and respond, you. Offering a discerning observation, Nell, something. Something like, that's actually a pretty discerning thing to notice about yourself, you. A lot of people never admit that part. Try it now. Friend, yeah. And the new place I'm interviewing with, you. Everyone seems so composed, so meticulous about everything. It's a little intimidating, honestly. Pause and respond, encouraging them, you. Maybe using adaptable or intuitive. Something like, you've always been adaptable, though, you. I think you'll find your footing there faster than you expect. Try it now. Friend. Thanks. I needed to hear that, you. I think I've just been feeling drained from the uncertainty of it all. Pause and close the conversation warmly, you. Something like, that's completely understandable. Give yourself some grace, you. This kind of change is exhausting, even when it's the right choice. Try it now. Look at what you just did, you. You held an entire emotionally layered conversation. Leaving a job, trust, self-reflection, encouragement. Using precise, natural you. Advanced vocabulary the whole way through, without a single flat, generic word like sad or good or nice. You. That is exactly what fluency sounds like in real life. Not perfect grammar, not a huge vocabulary you never use. Just the right word, you. Reached for naturally in the moment it's needed. Now, the fluency round. Here's how this works, you. I'm going to say each word today one more time, quickly, without a definition or example, you. And I want you to say a full sentence with it immediately. Out loud, as fast as you can, without stopping to think too long, you. This trains rapid retrieval, the actual skill you need in live conversation, you, where you don't get 30 seconds to construct the perfect sentence in your head. Elated, disheartened, candid, evasive, you. Meticulous, exhilarated, drained, cumbersome, intuitive, composed, impulsive, discerning, you. Superficial, proactive, adaptable, accountability, hectic, swamped, nice work. However fast or slow that felt, you. You just forced your brain to retrieve 18 advanced words on demand under mild time pressure, you. which is precisely the skill real conversations demand. You. The more you repeat this kind of rapid-fire round, even just reading a kind of vocabulary list out loud and speaking a sentence for each word in under 5 seconds, the faster your retrieval becomes in real conversation. You. Until eventually, these words simply arrive without conscious searching. Let's do one more round, this time even faster. You. No pauses from me at all, just the words back to back. You. And I want you to try keeping up mentally. Even if you don't say every sentence out loud. Elated, disheartened, candid, evasive. You. Meticulous, exhilarated, drained, cumbersome, intuitive, composed, impulsive, discerning, superficial, proactive, adaptable, hectic. You. Swamped, accountability. If your brain caught even half of those with an immediate mental image or sentence, that's real progress from a single session. Before we close today, let's talk about what to actually do with all of this. Because vocabulary that stays inside a video never becomes vocabulary you truly own. Here's your specific action for today. Not a vague practice more, a concrete, measurable step. Pick exactly 3 words from today's list. The 3 that felt most useful or most interesting to you personally. And write one sentence with each of them in the comments below this video. Describing something gestures about your actual day or your actual personality. Not a textbook sentence, a real one. I felt disheartened when my flight got delayed today. My coworker is incredibly meticulous, sometimes to a fault. I've been feeling pretty drained this week, but tomorrow's a new start. Writing it publicly, even briefly, forces your brain to commit to the word in a way passive listening never does. And reading other learners' sentences in the comments gives you even more natural examples beyond what I've given you. Here. If today's format helped you, the scenes, the role play, the shadowing, the real conversations, instead of a dry list, subscribe. Because every video on this channel follows this exact structure with a brand new set of C1 to C2 vocabulary. Always inside real situations. Work, relationships, travel, emotions, the actual texture of daily life in English. And if there's a specific situation where you constantly feel stuck for words, a work meeting, a dinner with friends, a difficult conversation, tell me in the comments, because future videos are built directly from what this community struggles with most. Let's close with one final reflection, because I want the last thing you hear today to sink in, not rush by. Fluency isn't built in one video, 1 week, or even 1 month. It's built in exactly the kind of repeated, embodied practice you just did for the last 30 minutes. Vocabulary tied to feeling, you. Tied to scene. Tied to your own voice saying it out loud, not just your eyes reading it silently. Every word you shadowed today, you. Every role play you answered out loud. Every sentence you built about your real life, you. Planted something a little deeper than passive study ever could. You didn't just learn 18 words today, you. You practiced becoming someone who reaches for precise you. Confident English without translating first. And that person gets a little more real every time you do this, you. Thank you for practicing with me today. I'll see you in the next one, you. With a brand new set of words and a brand new set of scenes to live inside. Until then, you. Keep noticing the moments in your own day that these words could describe. That's where real fluency quietly grows.